Bing Chan was born in Canton, China on June 16, 1941. He and his family lived in Hong Kong before moving to the United States in 1959 when he was 18 years old. He was the only boy amongst 5 children, a younger brother to Mary and Janet, and older brother to Margie and Helen. His first job was a part-time baking position at Eastern Bakery in Chinatown, and his evenings were spent at night school. Through his hard work and education, he later worked at the Bank of America World Trade Office, right down the block here on Montgomery Street. He later rose to the position of an assistant vice president. But work and school weren't all that my dad thought of. In 1964, he had his eye on a young lady named Gwen, who just happened to be dating his best friend.
Put your head on my shoulder.
But it wasn't a one-way street. Gwen also thought Bing was cute, and his shyness was appealing. So they dated for a few years, and on August 4th, 1968, my parents were married right up the street here at Old St. Mary's Church. And in February of 1971, I was born. My mom reflects on how happy and excited he was when she was carrying me. I vaguely remember Dad putting me on his shoulders a lot as a child. I thought he was just so proud to have a boy. Plus, I think he knew I was getting pretty big quickly, so he had to work fast. Dad was a huge sports fan and loved Indy racing, boxing, and the 49ers. Dad was very creative and had quite the sense of humor. I think that is the one thing I take from him the most. In May of 1975, his second son, Jansen, was born. For every bit of the sense of humor I inherited from my dad, Jansen inherited his creativity. Dad loved to cook and bake. He baked cakes for friends, birthday cakes for us kids, and even made a wedding cake for a friend. It was his passion.
I think having a father that baked all the time definitely influenced me into becoming a pastry chef. It was always wonderful to always wake up to the aroma of fresh baked cake or muffins. It's always an aroma that still to this day, when I'm in the kitchen, brings back the memories of being at home on the weekends. He just seemed to always really love to bake, and I think that definitely was something that I picked up on, and it's a passion that I think that I have that I don't always see in other people in the restaurant business.
He honestly loved working with his hands, and when we were young boys, my dad single-handedly built a giant redwood deck in our backyard. He even hauled all the cement and wood down 3 levels of stairs to build it. To this day, I still don't know how he did it. I think it was because he was really dedicated to his projects. He also loved to grow plants and trees in our backyard, and to this day, the plum, bamboo, and quince still remain. My parents took a trip to China in 1981 with some of their Galileo High School friends. I remember staying with my grandmother, falling asleep to the distant sounds of the Fort Point foghorns, while on the other side of the world, Dad was climbing the Great Wall. I can recall our vacations as a family to Vancouver, the Grand Canyon, Tahoe, Vegas, Hawaii, Yosemite, and of course, our favorite, Disneyland. Disneyland was the one place Jansen and I loved to visit. It was the summer vacation spot, and in my book, going to the Grand Canyon in Hawaii only meant we were spending valuable vacation time away from the Magic Kingdom.
Disneyland was the big carrot on the stick for Darren and I growing up. The incentive was to do good in school and you get to go to Disneyland. It's probably the one place where Darren and I got along and we didn't fight while growing up. It was being at Disneyland because we were both so happy. The only thing we would argue about is which ride would we go on first.
Dad was always about making us happy and providing for the family. And despite being diagnosed with cancer at the young age of 37, he always managed to be the leader of the household and did everything he could to give Jansen and I a happy childhood. It was in August of 1985 when my father succumbed to cancer. I was just 14 years old at the time. Jansen was only 10. Growing up came early for us. I've always considered my dad a brave hero for not only what he endured at the latter stage of life, battling his illness, really not complaining when we all knew he was in pain, but for the way he led his life, a hard-working, honest man who provided for his family in so many ways. Jansen and I will always strive to follow in the footsteps and be the strong man that he was. As you've heard before, behind every strong man is a strong woman. Such is the case with my mother. She took care of my father, provided for us boys, served at all levels of the school district for 40 years, cared for my grandmother and uncle, maintained the household, and continued to face each challenge head on. She has been the nucleus for our family and will forever hold that position. I marvel at what she has accomplished in life, and Jansen and I will always be grateful. Thank you, Mom, on behalf of Jansen and I.